It's Wednesday, July 10. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Pernell Charles Jr., says more enforcement is needed to protect the nation's water assets from violations. Senator Charles Jr., who was speaking with stakeholders at the Manchester Municipal Corporation recently, addressing water challenges affecting communities in the parish, outlined that many times water pipelines are breached by citizens and are not reported. This, he said, compromises reliable access to the precious commodity for law-abiding residents, particularly those living in communities facing water challenges. He pointed out that some persons breach the pipelines to water their plants and gardens, wash their cars, and sometimes use the water for their own domestic purposes. Senator Charles Jr. said that ramping up enforcement against breaches is crucial to providing piped water to communities. The House of Representatives on Tuesday approved changes to the Interception of Communications Act. The legislation's enforcement will boost the police's ability to monitor communications by criminal suspects and provide evidence for their apprehension, as well as for information on their criminal gains. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang admitted that the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organizations Act, which was passed in April 2014, otherwise known as the anti-gang legislation, was facing several challenges which are currently being addressed by a joint select committee of Parliament. Thus, the amendments were needed.
This would mean that specific law enforcement officers, will be empowered to apply to the court for a warrant authorizing the person named in the warrant to intercept communication and disclose the intercepted communication as specified in the warrant. The offenses for which interception would be allowed would be any offense under Part 2 of the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organization Act and include the offenses of A. Forming or establishing criminal organization, B. Recruiting child to criminal organization, recruitment of adult to criminal organization, providing benefit to or obtaining a benefit from a criminal organization, and aiding and abetting a criminal organization.
The amendments will also address financial crimes such as lottery scamming.
We have also used the opportunity to also include offenses under the Law Reform Fraudulent Transactions Special Provisions Act. Similarly, this would enable police officers to apply to the court for a warrant to intercept communications in relation to offenses under what is commonly referred to as the Lottery Scamming Act.
The changes will likewise assist the police in terms of prosecutions under the Proceeds of Crime Act, which seeks to relieve criminals of the earnings of their illegal activities.
Mr. Speaker, the objective of the resolution in relation to the Proceeds of Crime Act is to include Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organization Act offenses in the second schedule of the Proceeds of Crime Act, where specified offenses that are classified as criminal lifestyle offenses are outlined. Mr. Speaker, when an application for a forfeiture order or a pecuniary penalty order is made by the Assets Recovery Agency or the Director of Public Prosecutions, the court shall determine whether the defendant has a criminal lifestyle and whether he or she has benefited from his criminal conduct, his or her.
Dr. Chang said that as deliberations on the anti-gang legislation continue in Parliament, it was highlighted that the objectives of the Interception of Communication Act could assist crime fighters, as the provisions for interceptions were widened to empower investigators to apply to the court for a warrant of authorization to intercept and disclose the intercepted communication as specified in the warrant. The criminal investigation of former Education Minister REID and the Caribbean Maritime University, the CMU, is almost complete. That confirmation came from Chief Technical Director at the Financial Investigation Division, FID, Robin Sykes. The FID is the law enforcement agency leading the investigation. REID was relieved of his portfolio on March 20, pending corruption investigations. It is alleged that REID was dismissed owing to public funds being diverted to an account belonging to a woman who is on government books as his helper. The alleged helper was quoted in the print media on last weekend as accusing the former education minister of being the one who directed her to open the bank account. Mr. REID has categorically denied wrongdoing. Effective today, Professor Ibrahim Ajguna is to act as president of the Caribbean Maritime University, CMU. CMU's University Council came to that decision at a meeting on Monday. An employee at CMU since 2006, Professor Ajguna is deputy to the president as well as vice president of academic and student affairs. The president's chair became vacant last Friday when Professor Fritz Pinnock went on 6 weeks voluntary leave of absence. The leave comes amid corruption investigations into former Education Minister RUEL, the Ministry of Education, and the CMU. In the interim, Vice President of Technology and Innovation, Professor Noel Brown, will act as a deputy to the president. In light of the recent allegations of sexual harassment at the EDNA MANLEY School of the Visual and Performing Arts, Board Chairman Marigold Harding says that the school's board is close to sending its first report to the Education Ministry. The fine arts institution has been embroiled in a sexual harassment scandal for several weeks. A number of young women have alleged that they were sexually harassed by the lecturer at the tertiary institution. Mrs. Harding says there will be a special meeting of the school's board where its first report of its investigations will be tabled this week. Mrs. Harding says a ruling will then be made by the acting education minister, Carl Samuda. She says the school's board will meet again next week. Minister of Culture, Entertainment, Gender and Sport, Olivia Grange, has tabled a bill entitled An Act to Make Provision for the Prevention of Sexual Harassment and for Connected Matters. The minister tabled the bill in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. In a release from the ministry, Ms. Grange said the bill is intended to, quote, protect women and men whose quality of life is affected by intimidating, hostile, or offensive environments caused by unwanted sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and crude sexual behaviors, end quote. The bill includes proposals for dealing with sexual harassment in the workplace, schools, correctional institutions, places of safety, nursing homes, medical and psychiatric facilities, among other places. According to the minister, the bill is to be referred to a joint select committee shortly. Minister Grange said she anticipates the bill will go through parliamentary process as quickly as possible as, quote, there are several women and men who urgently need the protections that the bill is designed to provide, end quote. Newport Mills, maker of the popular animal feed brand Nutrimix, have made semen and embryo transfer for goat and sheep available locally. In a release issued on Tuesday, it was disclosed that the average farmer who has a good management system in place will stand to benefit from the introduction of artificial insemination and embryo transfer. Since the local introduction earlier this year, farmers have reportedly been responding very well. Artificial insemination is a common practice of breeding livestock and is much more common in dairy production. However, it is being utilized due to increased access and marketing of favorably proven domestic livestock. In a rundown of the benefits to be derived from AI, it was noted that such a procedure will allow access to superior sires, male goat or sheep sires that are the top tier of any herd. In addition, superior sires also grow faster. Bruce James has been appointed as the new chairman of SAGICOR Bank Jamaica Limited. James, who is president of the world-renowned and award-winning MVP Track and Field Club, has been a director on SAGICOR Bank's board since 2011 and has over 16 years of experience in the banking sector. His appointment was consequent upon the resignation of Richard Biles as director and chair of SAGICOR Bank, following Biles' appointment as the next governor of the Bank of Jamaica. The US dollar on Tuesday, July 9, ended trading at Jamaican $134.59, up by 72 cents. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. The Canadian dollar ended trading at Jamaican $101.45, down from Jamaican $102.41, while the British pound sterling ended trading at Jamaican $167.16, up from $165.94. The public is being reminded that excessive heat stress is harmful to health and is potentially fatal. The Ministry of Health and Wellness recently advised that this year extremely high temperatures are being reported. The public is therefore advised to take precautionary measures to reduce exposure to heat and limit the serious effects it can have on the body. Our team took to the streets to hear how some Jamaicans are keeping cool this summer.
I stay cool in the summer by staying inside and turn on my AC. That's it. No sunburn, just turn on the AC and lie down and read my book.
During the summer, I try to keep as cool as possible by staying out of the sun, wearing protective clothing like long sleeve clothing, and drinking a lot of water.
Well, you have to drink a lot of water. Yeah, you eat a lot of fruits, apple, ripe banana, any fruits at all. And then you can keep out of the sun. You keep in a warm, cool place and keep take a fresh bath. You can go to the beach often.
Staying cool in the summer, it depends on how you control your health. Water is a vital part of it, but how much water you can consume, because some sugary drinks incline more time to get you more drinking sugary drinks than water, but I try to condition myself with water at least every 20 minutes of the day or of my working day, because out here it's real hot.
Staying cool in the summer is not an easy thing because you have to focus and think wisely, you know? Yeah, drink a lot of water. Yeah, I hold a bath regularly. Yeah, make sure you have bath all 3-4 times a day. Yeah, I go in a cool area. Yeah, you have to just do the maths. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't know, in the summertime it's very hot. Heat and mash up the country right now. Everybody about heat. Yeah, man, so keeping cool, you got to be, drinking a lot of water, have a regular bath. Yeah, and just stay in a cool area, you know? Yeah, man, just keep yourself in that aspect.
In regional news, the island of Dominica was removed from a European Union list of tax havens on June 14. Dominica changed its tax rules to comply with EU requirements meant to reduce the risk of tax evasion. However, Dominica Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is now calling for compensation for damages and said that the island should not have been blacklisted in the first place.
You cannot extend an injustice to my country, and then when you have sought to undo the injustice, you congratulated me. I say you should be indicating to me as the leader of my country what form of compensation you should be putting to us for denying us of our right for self-determination. So I do not wish to receive your congratulations because you cannot extend congratulations for causing an injustice to our nation. But in this world, as you know, there are nations that are more powerful and have controls over the economic instruments in this world and mechanisms, and they impose this on us. So we understand this.
At a recently concluded CARICOM Heads of Government Summit in St. Lucia, regional leaders highlighted the damaging nature of the European Union blacklisting of several Caribbean states as tax havens. CARICOM Secretary General Erwin LaRocque called it insidious.
Our member states have a sovereign right to determine their fiscal policy. Our compliance with the regulatory measures and standards for tax transparency set by the OECD the recognized global authority is being disregarded by others. The arbitrary impositions of rules by countries and groups of countries other than the OECD with respect to tax governance and anti-money laundering without meaningful consultation with the affected states is unacceptable.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says he was optimistic as talks between government and the opposition to resolve the country's political crisis resumed on Monday. The two sides have been engaged in a bitter power struggle since January, and preliminary talks held in May in Oslo petered out without any agreement. Mr. Maduro said a 6-point agenda was being discussed at the meeting, which is being hosted by Barbados and Bajan Prime Minister Mia Mottley welcomed the talks.
We are happy to be able to facilitate those discussions here that are being led by and facilitated by the government of Norway, and that involves both sides. I think Barbados has always had a reputation of a country whose foreign policy has been consistent, that we are friends of all, satellites of none, that we stay above the fray, and that we seek to bring about peace wherever we can. And this is a matter that requires the utmost patience, so it's not something that you should be asking me or anybody about on a daily basis. Let the people talk. And when you have deep divisions, it takes time, and I have every confidence in the government of Norway being able to do what CARICOM has wanted done since January in our conversations together.
Over in Guyana, even as uncertainty remains as to when polls will be held following a CCJ ruling that upheld the no-confidence motion against the government and fresh elections must be held, the Finance Ministry is moving ahead with plans for a 2020 budget. We get more in this report.
Finance Minister Winston Jordan said public servants can look forward to improved salary and allowances in the 2020 national budget. He was at the time speaking with the media at the Ministry of Finance's boardroom on Monday, where he noted that the government is moving ahead with the budget preparation.
They can look forward again this year to a salary increase. We are already in negotiations with the teachers. The President has set up a high-level committee on public service to look into particularly the wage and allowances of public servants, so to speak. So we are hoping that that can be concluded in time for the figures to get into the next budget.
The minister said his government is pleased with what it has done for Guyanese over the past 4 years.
We are proud of a record of all-round development, given the limitation of the resources that we have had. We are proud of a record of human resource development, over 1,500 scholarships that have been given to all kinds of people in all kinds of sectors and so on. We are proud of those achievements, and our people can look forward to improved benefits, whether they be in the social sector, educational sector, and at the personal level as we go into 2020.
Last year, Jordan presented a $300.7 billion budget for the year 2019, an increase of 12.6% from 2018. He said the 2020 national budget is scheduled for presentation before the National Assembly by the end of November. The minister's comment was made days before the Caribbean Court of Justice delivers its consequential orders of its June 18th ruling, which validated the passage of a no-confidence motion against the government in December. The CCJ will deliver those orders on Friday, which will necessitate early elections. Elections were initially due by March 22nd, 3 months after the passage of the motion, but several court cases challenging the validity of the motion led to a delay. In its submission to the CCJ, the government is asking that the court allows President David Granger and the Guyana Elections Commission to set a date for elections.
In sports, we're on the run with athletics as retired sprinting legend Usain Bolt has come out in strong defense of his former coach and Racers Track Club founder Glenn Mills. In an interview with RJR Gleaner Communication, Bolt said he was deeply hurt by the recent, quote, disrespectful, end quote, comments leveled at his Mills, where a number of athletes under his guidance have recently expressed discontent and deciding to change coaches after disappointing performances on the track. Mills coached Bolt to 8 Olympic and 11 World Championships gold medals, as well as world records in the 100 meters and 200 meters. Bolt said, quote, "It's the disrespect as far as I'm concerned. Glenn Mills is one of the greatest coach ever," end quote. Among the athletes that have recently departed races is Peter Matthews, who directed expletive-laced posts to Mills on a social media platform. Other athletes that have walked away are Kemar Bailey-Cole, Olympic 200 meters bronze medal winner Warren Weir, national 100-meter champion, 2011 world champion in the 100 meters, and double Olympic silver medal winner Johan Blake, as well as Javon Minzy. Bolt, who underlined that he has no issue with an athlete deciding to change coaches if they see this as the best decision for their careers, says he's deeply bothered by the lack of respect being shown towards Mills and believes athletes should take greater responsibility for their own failures. He's quoted saying, "You can leave a coach. I have moved on from coaches, but I didn't disrespect anybody," end quote. Bolt joined forces with Mills in 2005 and went on to become what many consider the greatest sprinter of all time. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thanks so much for watching.